Hello, Tearsha. It's nice to see you again.
Hi, Tina.
So thank you for coming to play with me today. And I'd like you to give you a minute just to introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into kind of like what you're doing and your background and stuff.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Gina. This is Tearsha Wilder. I'm with The Soul's Harmony, and I'm an author. I have a couple of books out there and an affirmation card deck. I also do energy work, something called Meridian Enlightenment Energy Healing, and I offer workshops in that area. And I live here local to you, here in Myrtle Beach.
Okay. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to meet you a couple of years ago at a luncheon, and it seems like our paths cross, and I've enjoyed. I've sat in on some of your meditation sessions and have looked at your book and things. I know you've got some new things coming, so I wanted to take some time with you, and thank you for coming to join me to share a bit about what it is, the tools that you use, because this series is about different tools and methodologies that we can use to help evolve ourselves through the energies that we're feeling now and the awakening, or some people call it awakening, some call it ascension, some call it chakra work, whatever you want to call it. It's just there's a variety of different paths and a variety of different tools that we can use, and some resonate with us and others resonate better with others. So that's what this series is about, and I wanted to take some time today for Tearsha to kind of share with you what she does and what she's found to work with her, and see if it rings a bell with you. So Tearsha, if you could tell us a little bit about, you mentioned your book, you've written some books, so tell us a little about what kinds of, what is it your books are about, and what is it you kind of facilitate and do, what types of tools have you used yourself?
Okay. My books are spiritual self-help books. The first one that I put out is called 40 Days to Soul Enlightenment, and that one actually surfaced on accident through some self-healing that I was doing about 2012, I believe it was. I started doing some deep diving within myself, and I was going through a lot of things. And so I just would get up every morning and I'd say, all right, God, come on, tell me what's happening. How am I going to heal today? And I started writing every day. And just as a channeler, channeling meaning I hear spirit, I would just write down everything that I heard. And this went on for over a year. And then I thought, well, I've really reached this nice new space. So I started asking, well, now what do I do with all this? I got all these journals and all these notebooks, everywhere. And I was told it's time to share so that other people can begin healing too. So I typed them all up, threw them all over my living room floor, and just, again, listened to spirit and grabbed. And next thing you know, I had 40 of them. And 40 Days to Soul Enlightenment was birthed by 2016, I believe, as I published that book. And it is a self-help book. You read the book, journal, spend the day in that energy. Sometimes the day may take a little longer, may even take up to a few months, depending on what we're all purging is always different. Then I followed up with, actually that was 2015. In 2016, I came back with a daily affirmation card deck to accompany that, to use at the same time, simultaneously, or after you've completed the book. And then I began writing just out of the blue in 2017. May 30th, 2017, this energy just hit me, and I started writing. I barely showered and ate. I just would write. That's all I did. And within 3 weeks, I was gifted with 40 Days to Soul Expansion. That's the book there in the middle with the pink and purple and blues on it. And this is diving deep. This is a self-help workbook. When you dive into this, you're going to get some major growth. You're going to learn all about your authentic blueprint, and you're going to come to life, and you're going to create a whole new reality around you. And that's my writings. The energy work that I do is called the me energy, ME, because it is, all about me, all about you, healing ourselves. And the me stands for Meridian Enlightenment. And that came as a gift from the universe, from God, to me in 2008. I started just feeling really horrible. I saw spirit my whole life, and I didn't deal with it. I was really afraid. And so when you're afraid, that lets in the dark. I was done with that. It's like, no more dark, no more yuck, booger man, go away. And I started self-healing. So I would sit in my space, and I started working through this portal. You can see that this triangle portal just kept coming to me, and I could see the energies coming in and out through this and lifting the energies, the negativity away from me, and then the light would come through and replace that. And as I kept working with this energy, then I believe it was 2014, I finally got the information about where it was coming from, what it was all about, how I was to use it, and the benefits and so forth. And so now I'm teaching workshops. It's been 11 years now, and it's time for me to share it with other people so that they can find the healings also. It aligns, there's 5 different ways that this energy works. It's a very simple process too. The primary alignment, which your meridians stay in alignment with your chakras. And then it also works in all 4 quadrants. It works with our spiritual, our mental, our emotional, and our physical selves. So there's actually 5 different healing positions, and through the modality you can heal all of these things. And believe me, it's been just so rewarding for me. So I'm really excited to finally, after 11 years, to bring it out and share it with other people. And I have my first workshop last Saturday, and we have another one scheduled for September 10th at Wicked Fitness.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so when you talk about healing, one of the things that I've talked about in here is, some people have impressions of what healing is, and I'll share with you kind of my thought about that, and you can tell me how that resonates with what you're talking about. But for me, healing is that kind of remembering and mending our bits and pieces of ourselves that have gotten lost either in trauma or memory or in incidences or whatever. Some people talk about healing our DNA, healing our, kind of bringing us back into wholeness so that we can be all that we are and hold our space. Does that resonate with what you're thought of as healing, or do you have a perspective on that?
Yes. So we all have an internal all-knowing access. When we come here, as all of them, and you may know, our people that are watching, we decide, okay, the only way that we can learn the lesson that we incarnated to learn is to forget all of that. And then we come here and we go, all right, well, let's just work on this lesson and let's peel away these layers. And then as we go through life, even as a child, we pick up on learned behaviors, we pick up on energies from our environments, our peers, our family, things that, and anything that's around us, because we absorb through our eyes, our ears, our skin, we absorb through everything. Everything is energy. And as we get all these layers on us, all of a sudden we're like, what the heck, where did I go? All of a sudden I'm acting like my mom, or I'm believing in this movement that really, is that authentic to me? So as we begin to heal and self-heal, and we find the answer on the inside, peeling those layers back, next thing you know, we find ourselves, which is kind of a common old term. Look, she took off time to go find herself. Well, it truly does make life different. It changes your reality, and it changes the way that you feel about yourself and the way that you light up the world. So I agree. It's all about going inside, tapping into the truth and knowledge that is already ingrained in every one of us. We just kind of lose sight, and that's a part of the human experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tim and I talk a lot on the channel about the fact that what happens in our world is what's happening, and a reflection of what's happening inside. So for me, it's not easy, it's simple. The much simpler way of doing it is going inside and fixing it here rather than trying to fix everybody else out there, to get what I want.
Right. So. It's all a reflection. What we bring into our lives, positive or negative, it's a reflection. We see things in others and we're like, oh, they're really messed up. Well, what's your version? What is my version of what I believe is messed up with them? Otherwise, it wouldn't be in my face. I brought it to me to learn something about me. So you're right. We create our own reality, whether it's positive, negative, or somewhere in between. And when we heal it here, it stops coming here. It stops coming from the external once we heal the internal.
Right. So when you talked about, you said channeling and you hearing from spirit or from God, then when did that start? Have you always heard? Is it audible? Have you always had that gift, or when did you?
Well, it started when I was a little girl, and I see, and I hear, and I feel. And there was no one around me really to teach me how to handle that, what it was, or why it was. And so I just continued as a kid being afraid. And then even on into my adulthood, I decided that avoidance was the best way to deal with it, and to overshadow it with, as a teenager, here it goes, throwing it out there, smoked a lot of pot, and then I went through a drinking stage to hide all that because I was scared to death. I mean, day and night, you see things and you hear things, and it can be scary when you don't have control of it. Once I brought myself to the space where I was fed up, I'm like, no, I need help. Somebody help me. I turned to source, turned to my higher self, and let me tell you what, there is no touching, no talking, nothing is allowed in my space now unless it is pure and joyful and happy, and I don't care what reality it comes from. So it did start as a young child, and all that uneducated fear and running and hiding kept me from feeling the joy that I feel today. So it's been a long journey, but it's been a beautiful one and well worth it.
Yeah, I think many times when you go back to your childhood, you had those things where you considered you had imaginary friends, or, you had thoughts that, because for me, it comes in my own voice in a way. So it was I just thought I was thinking those things sometimes. And so there's a variety of different ways that could come. And oftentimes we're told, oh, that's just your imagination, and that's nothing, or you're just, you're just pretending or whatever. And as a child you go, okay, well, maybe that's true, and so you kind of set it aside, but the voice and the connection never goes away, and actually we all have it. It's just like opening the passageways and clearing them away so we can hear it. And I think from your explanation of your books and your processes there, it's trying to open some of that for people so that they can then kind of hear for themselves.
Yes. Yeah, especially in the second book there, the larger workbook, 40 Days to Soul Expansion, there's lessons in there that guide you how to open up your own channels. Because you're right, we all have access. So whether we decide to or not, whether we decide to recognize it, and how we decide to use it to our benefit and our healing. Yeah. But you're right, we all have it inside.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about your story, if you will, like how you got here? So a lot of people that may be watching maybe are going, okay, I hear you, and that's interesting, but I'm sitting here and I'm miserable, or I'm struggling with this, So if you can give us a flavor of kind of, you don't have to tell us all the gritty details, obviously.
I kind of already started, didn't I?
The story of your process, so they could kind of say, yeah, that's me, and I can do these steps to start me on that path, because it is a process for all of us.
Yeah, well, again, I just kind of was in a really horrible position. I had gotten hurt and was having some physical issues. I lost a family member in a tragic death, and I was dealing with all the, I like to call it the yuck, from the other side, the dark side, and I was so just down in a hole. And then I decided to take back my power. So that's where it starts, taking back your power, realizing what your worth is in life. And for me, that was my incarnate lesson, self-worth. My whole family tree, we're all kind of fighting that and learning that lesson. And so that's where it began with me, finding my self-worth, because I had totally given it away. I had no identity. So it started with just sitting down and connecting with myself and with my higher self and with Source, and saying, I got to be fixed. I surrender. I'm done. Let's fix this. I'm getting out of this mess. And that's where it all started with me. And again, like you said, it's an internal knowing. There's all kinds of self-help out there. You know, I've got my books, I've got my energy work, as does many people. You have your, you make your connection with your videos and so forth. We all have access to so many things. Start on the inside. That's my guidance. Start on the inside and ask yourself, your higher self, because you know, your body knows what it needs to heal. Your spirit, it all knows what it needs to heal. Ask yourself. Now get away from the ego, the monkey on your back, the chatter in your brain, the devil, all that stuff you want to call it. That is BS. It's taking you to yesterday. It's taking you to tomorrow. Come into the now, as you and I have talked about. Come into the now, into the present. Connect with who you truly know you are and say, what do I need? And it's not an overnight. You're not going to go, oh, okay, I got it. It's not going to happen like that. And when I first started on this little journey myself, I was so hungry. I was like digging for information. I did all kinds of things. I got my Reiki master back in 2010, which is a beautiful modality also. They all work together. And I was so hungry. I was reading nonstop, and I was grabbing at any and everybody I could find. I was so desperate. I was like, help me, help me, help me. I thought I was going to just have this little, I'm a checklist girl. Thought I had this little mental checklist and go, I did this. Okay, I'm healed. It doesn't work like that. It's doing the work for you. It's about doing the work for you. Studying yourself, going internal and saying, what's going to work for me? Is this going to work for me? Mm-hmm. Is that going to work for me? Or a combination of? And only you know what's going to work for you. Mm-hmm. Whatever resonates and whatever connects. Not you. I mean, us in general.
Yeah, for me too.
Yes.
But yeah, it is a journey, and it's like whatever. I like the way you conveyed that, because I'm a firm believer in many times when we first start to crack open, you know, we're looking for people outside of ourselves to fix us or to give us the magic, you know, the magic recipe or, you know, whatever.
Pill.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't exist. And I mean, there's a lot of things that can help you. And when you get healers that work with you or, you know, anything like that, you're hearing what worked for them and hope that you resonate with some of it. And maybe it bumps you along, and maybe it is your path, but maybe it bumps you along and then it works for you to a certain point, and then you need to find a different process.
Yes.
It really is that self-exploration. And I can remember when I first started down this path, so many people called it the work. Like, I mean, you had to go inside and do the work, that I was like, oh, so tired. I'm like, oh, I gotta do more work.
That's a 4-letter word.
It's really like a treasure hunt in a way, because you're trying to chip away those pieces of that rock and see what sculpture is under, see what's underneath that. And so we have so many different shells around us and over top of us that nobody can see us for who we are. We look in the mirror and we don't see who we really are. So for me, it's that when we say the work or whatever, it's really that kind of creativity of like chip away those pieces, and different tools and different processes and different conversations or things you listen to or whatever are going to pull pieces away from you. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, wait, I recognize, oh, that's my hair, you know, oh, that's my, you know what I mean? You just kind of start recognizing who you are. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, I am me. Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, you just try all these different things and you put on the different masks and trade them all out till you find out what works for you. And then you're right. One day you just go, you know, I've been working and doing the work here. I've been learning and healing here and reading there and hanging out with like-minded people and joining a meetup or watching videos, doing all of these different things. And all of a sudden one day you go, oh my gosh, I'm here. I did it. I'm here. I did the work. Yeah. And at that point, it's like, it's just a beautiful opening for you, isn't it? But when you're in that process, it gets confusing and it gets, I I spent my time going, well, I got to remember to do this. I got to remember to do that. And if I don't do this, it's not going to work. And I have to stay here and stay grounded and stay connected. And oh my gosh, you just get overload instead of just going, this is me and this is my moment and this is where I am and everything is fine and good. I will try this tomorrow. Maybe I'll try that the next day and see what the word you used, flavor, I like that. What flavor I like the best? Which one resonates? And we're all different. None of us are the same. You know, what works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for Susie down the street, or Fred loves the other thing. We're all so different, yet always the same. The core is the same. The oneness is the same.
Yeah, what I like about your books and the way that you approach it too is you really are, you know, you get some self-help books out there where they say, well, you need to do this, and they're going to tell it, like they're telling you all the answers. And from, you know, when you do the work or when you're on this exploration, a large percentage of your time is working alone with yourself. You know, and your guide or your connection to God in prayer and journaling and something like that. And if you don't have that piece of it, you know, how much of it is really your personal own versus your like mirroring somebody else's, you know, you're trying to be like them, or maybe
great point. Yeah.
So what I like about yours is it, you know, it is about journaling and it is about meditation, and it redirects people back into that space in themselves.
Thank you. Thank you. I see the way that we learn as humans is to see something, to hear something, and there must be an action. I learned that from, I have a life coach for the last about 2.5 years, and oh my gosh, she has grown me tremendously. Beautiful, beautiful woman. She lives out on the West Coast. Her name is Dr. Carol McCall. And I have learned so much from her, and that's one of the things I learned. If I'm going to learn, if something's going to stick with me, I need to see it, I need to hear it, there needs to be an action. If there's no action, it just kind of washes away. But when you put your pencil to the paper, or you go out and you act and you observe, it's ingrained. It stays in you. And she and I resonated quite well. I wrote this first book, which was an action book, prior to my meeting her, because I've only been with her a couple of years, a little over 2 years. And then she actually endorsed my second book for me. So that was very exciting. But there must be an action. If there's no action, it doesn't stay. It doesn't stick. Yeah. Like Teflon, it just slides right on off.
Right. And we've heard, you know, some other people or speakers that talk about embodying things or anchoring things. And to me, that's what that is. It's that pulling it into yourself and embodying it, you know, letting it resonate inside of you, taking an action on it. You're anchoring it, you're expressing it after you put your own stamp on it.
Right. You're making it real for you.
Right.
Yes. Thank you for that acknowledgement for my work. Thank you.
Very good. So how long have you been, you said you've written the first book in 2016. How long have you been on the journey from the awakened, you know, where you said, no more, this is, you know, this is it, I want to you know, change things, to today?
Right. To today, the initial action that sent me into the whirlwind happened in October of 2008. That's when I lost the family member. The tragedy happened. I got hurt. My arm was stuck up over my head like this for like 2.5, 3 months. I had surgery. Nice little lovely chapter right there, scar. And that's when I was done. So at that point, that's when I started the self-healing, and the portal came through, the me energy, the meridian enlightenment. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what energy work was. I had no clue what it even was. I just knew that this was working for me. Whatever it was, I was feeling better, and I was releasing a lot of stuff, and I was keeping the yuck away from me at that point. And so I started going out doing homework, and that's how I ended up taking the level 1 Reiki class and doing the attunements there, and started learning about the community that we have here that does energy work and spiritual self-help and so forth. And then, of course, I went on and did the level 2 and did my master. And I knew that was not the same energy. You can feel different energies. It was not the same as what I had been working with. So that's when I dove inside and said, okay, tell me what this is. And that's when I found out in 2014. I got a name, as humans, we kind of have to name everything. There has to be a name for us to associate with it. And so that's the name that was given to me, and the process was gifted to me, and now excited. So 2008, this is 2019, almost 20, so 11, going on 12 years.
Awesome.
I've been doing my work. We'll call it my work, my internal work, that is. Yeah. And that's what brought me where I am right now. Yeah. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love the community. As I'm sorry to interrupt you, as I started learning and growing, I took that Reiki class, was my first introduction to other people in the community. I started making I did this 2-week sabbatical down in Brazil, and I met these 2 women. One lived in Charleston, one lived down the street here in Surfside, all the way in Brazil. So as we start doing the work, the energy, the people, the community, it starts coming to us. And I feel just so abundantly blessed with the many, many people that have been brought to me, that have been attracted into me and my space to assist me to even do something like this book or create workshops. Because I always call myself just a girl. I'm just a girl, and it's been brought to me, and it's just kind of manifesting on its own once I went inside and found my true gift and what was true for me. It's just now it's coming my way. So as you do your work, it's going to come to you, and it's a beautiful share. Like you, I met you a couple of years ago through our luncheon circle and through some classes that I was teaching down at Market Commons.
Yeah, it's amazing how the universe works, and the magnetism to the frequency that you are is going to it's going to attract in. It's not effort, it's just play. At that point, you're amazed, It's
natural.
Like, oh, how did I get here? But that's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share that I haven't asked you about, or?
Well, I kind of did my little PR on my work in the classes that I'm teaching. Just pop up my website there if you don't mind, if anyone wants to look up and read anything about what I do. My whole story is right out there at thesoulsharmony.com or tearsawilder.com, either one. And then she has it there on the screen, and that'll give you all the background information about the me energy that I do, where you can go for the class, the workshop, or if you wanted to work with me personally, contact information. There's a free heart blessing meditation on there, all kinds of goodies, and I'd love to hear from you. Okay. I appreciate you having me on here, Gina. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.